St. Mary police investigating robbery at a supermarket. Taxi driver shoots a badman robber. Student shot to death in Grange Hill while Excelsior High beat Manchester High to win Spalding Cup. This is Undiluted News. Mikey Bones reporting. A former member of the Jamaica Defense Force who was charged with shooting at members of a police team during a standoff in Portmore, St. Catherine 3 years ago has been found not criminally responsible for his action due to his mental illness. The verdict was handed down Tuesday in favor of Dane Johnson at his trial before the Home Circuit Court. At the trial, prosecutors led evidence that on November 2nd of 2021, Mr. Johnson was engaged in a major standoff with the police at his home in Cumberland, Portmore in St. Catherine, and it's reported that the police were called to the community by neighbors who reported that the ex-military man was shooting up the neighborhood and shooting at people. On the arrival of the cops, they came under heavy gunfire from Mr. Johnson, and this led to an exchange of gunfire and one of the police officers was shot. Johnson was eventually captured and later charged with several offenses including shooting with intent, wounding with intent, illegal possession of firearm, and illegal possession of ammunition. But at the trial, his attorney, King's Counsel Peter Champagne, argued that his client was mentally ill and this triggered his actions. Mr. Champagne submitted evidence from 5 psychologists who argued that at the time of the incident, Mr. Johnson was suffering from schizophrenia that caused hallucinations and delusions not in line with reality. The trial judge, Justice Anne Marie Granger, after hearing all the evidence, entered the special verdict on all counts of not guilty. A man who attempted to rob a taxi driver and passengers in Clarendon on Wednesday night was disarmed by the cabbie and fatally shot during a struggle. The dead man has been identified as 24-year-old Bobby Bruce of Fraser's Content in Spanish Town in St. Catherine. And it is said that about 8:15 p.m. the taxi was traveling along a roadway when upon reaching 19 miles, Bruce attempted to rob the driver and the passengers. There was a struggle and the would-be robber was disarmed and shot. He was taken to the Maypen Hospital where he was later pronounced dead. A Taurus pistol and 5 rounds of ammunition were handed over to the police. And the incident comes 2 days after a gunman shot and killed a taxi operator in Linstead in St. Catherine. St. Mary police are now investigating a robbery at a supermarket in Onotta Bay on Tuesday. A firearm belonging to the supermarket operator was also taken by the robbers. According to the police, sometime before midnight, the businessman was on the balcony above his supermarket when he was surprised by gunmen. He was then tied up by the hoodlums who took his firearm and more than $100,000. And it's reported that the robbers also stole several items from the supermarket before escaping. Omar Cullimore, who is on trial for allegedly orchestrating the murder of his wife Simone Campbell Cullimore and co-accused Michael Crayboss Adams, have a case to answer. The men are each facing 2 counts of murder and conspiracy to murder in connection to the killing of the 32-year-old businesswoman and her taxi driver Winston Corey Walters on January 2nd of 2018. In proving its case, the prosecutors called 25 witnesses, including confessed killer Wade Blackwood. In February, when the trial started, the prosecution told jurors that Mr. Cullimore hired Adams to facilitate the murder of his wife and that a man named Edwards and another man named Pink allegedly played a role in surveilling the businesswoman's movement before her death. During his testimony, Blackwood said he was one of the men on the motorbikes that rode up and sprayed the victims with bullets as they waited to be let inside Miss Campbell Cullimore's Forest Ridge apartment complex in Red Hill, St. Andrew. Blackwood, a confessed member of the unruly gang who is currently serving 2 life sentences for the murders, had disclosed that he got a price tag from one of the other shooters, Jim, who is now deceased and was the leader of the gang. He also testified that Adams was the contract killer and was the one who spoke with the man who had ordered the hit on the woman. Among the evidence presented was that Mr. Cullimore was the beneficiary on his wife's multi-million-dollar life insurance policy, one of which was taken out less than 3 months before she was murdered. Phone data evidence was also presented in court. A police constable was offered bail when he appeared in the Hanover Parish Court on Wednesday to answer to a charge of murder. Constable Mike Edwards was offered bail in the sum of $750,000 with one of 2 sureties. The charge stemmed from an investigation by the Independent Commission of Investigations (INDECOM) and a ruling by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. Constable Campbell was charged in relation to the March 26, 2023 fatal shooting of 24-year-old Avada Samuels in Mount Pleasant in Hanover. At the time of the incident, Samuels was attending a wake being held at a bar in the community when an altercation developed between him and several police officers. That altercation escalated and resulted in his death, and the matter is set for hearing on June 4th. The 14-year-old student of the Irving High School in St. James who is charged with the murder of 15-year-old Ranel Plummer was offered bail when he appeared in court yesterday. Ranel was attacked and stabbed in the chest at the school gate, and as part of this student bail condition, he is to reside out of the parish. Meanwhile, a male student is dead while a female student is reportedly in a hospital after a shooting in close proximity to the Grange Hill High School in Westmoreland. The two had just left the school sports day when gunmen traveling on a motorcycle opened gunfire at them. The male student was reportedly hit in the upper body while the female in the region of her arm, and sources said the male student was the target of the gun attack. And the incident happened sometime after 5 p.m. And this is now getting out of hand. Last week we had 6 schools in Kingston with possible 100 students fight for several days until police got involved. Then Friday we had a student stabbed to death in St. James. Then Wednesday we had 3 schoolboys getting stabbed in St. Mary this week. And now yesterday we have 2 shot and 1 dead in Grange Hill. Jamaica is slowly becoming Haiti. Onto sports, Grey Shield champion Excelsior High are the ISA Spalding Cup champions after defeating Headley Cup winners Manchester High by 185 runs on day 2 of the 3-day All-Ireland playoff at Melbourne Oval. Set an improbable 402 runs for victory, Manchester High were dismissed for 217 in their second innings. Padre Nelson put up the most resistance with 68, while Revon Morgan made 36. Excelsior had posted 255 in their second innings. Michael Clark made 58 and Jamari Daly 36 against Brian Barnes, who took 4 wickets for 55, and Barrington Simpson 3 for 49. DeMarcus Scott did the damage for Excelsior with 4 for 59, while Clark returned to claim 4 for 64. On to English Premier League, Manchester City demolished Brighton 4-0 as Phil Foden's double lifted the Premier League title chasers to within 1 point of leaders Arsenal yesterday. Liverpool's surprise defeat at Everton on Wednesday was the welcome boost for City in the title race after Arsenal had trashed Chelsea 5-0 on Tuesday. Next up for City, who are unbeaten in 18 league games, is a trip to Nottingham Forest on Sunday, while Arsenal will head to Tottenham just hours later. NBA Philadelphia 76ers squeezed out a close win over the New York Knicks last night, winning 125-114 in Game 3, making it a close series with New York leading 2-1. Joel Embiid set a playoff career high with 50 points to carry Philly. And don't forget that the best news and sports takes place on this station. If you missed the news, go to YouTube, type in Jamerican Undiluted News, listen, like, share, and subscribe to keep it going. That's news and sports on your favorite station. My name is Mikey Bones. I gone.